Before I get started, I just wanted to get a feel for who's in the room. How many engineers, people who are engineers, can you raise your hand? Majority of you engineers. How many of you are analysts, financial people? One, two, okay. Any philosophy majors? None. Okay, good. So what I'm going to be doing over the next 15 odd minutes is throwing a lot of numbers at you, because I think the only way to really understand the impact of the internet is, people who are sort of somewhat hybrid geeky like me, is numbers. Let's do this. I think the nice lady, when she started, she asked everyone to switch off their phones. How many of you have actually switched off their phone? Okay, or silent. How many of you don't have any phones with you? Okay, so everyone has a phone, but half of you switched it off or put it on silent. So what did you just do when you did that? It's actually very, very profound. Is when you switched off that phone, you cut off your connections to both your personal world and your professional world. And today, we take that as a 24/7, something that's granted, something that you don't live without. And it's very, very profound. You probably did it without thinking about it. But at this point, there's a bunch of things that happen. There's emails waiting for you, there's SMSs, there's IMs, there's probably missed calls that have happened in the last 20 odd minutes. Now, why is this important? It's important because from the beginning of time until 2005, there was about 5 exabytes of information that was ever created. Today, we create that information every 2 days. 10 years ago, 1.7% of the world was online. Today, that number is 26%. That's 1.8 billion people online. If you just look at the top 16 countries, 16 internet-connected countries, 30% of that population spends their leisure time online. So we use the internet in almost every aspect of our life. We use it for information. There's about 4 billion searches that happen every day. We use it for entertainment. There's 2 billion videos that are viewed every day. We use it for creativity. In terms of, there's 24 hours of video that's uploaded on YouTube every minute. That's about 134,000 full-length movies coming on YouTube every day, right? So look at the number of hours we're spending on Facebook and Orkut and stuff like that. That all amounts to about 2 billion hours a month. So clearly this is happening, and it's real. It's a huge impact. Closer to home, even in Delhi, the Delhi police actually put up a Facebook page, and where you can go in and submit pictures of traffic violations and things like that. And based on that, within 2 months, they had 3,000 photos and 17,000 members. They've already issued 665 tickets based on their Facebook page. So it's everywhere. It's not just out there, but it's very much impacting India in a big way. So all that's great. Now let's maybe think about the mobile world. If you go back about 10 years, there were as many PCs as there are mobiles, and the mobiles are growing at a rate which is 8 times faster than PCs 10 years ago. So 4.6 billion mobile phones. That means 2/3 of the world population today has a mobile phone, and 3/4 of that is in developing countries like India. An interesting fact that you may also not know, which is that mobile phones make the #1 bedmate. 2/3 of people sleep with their mobile phones next to them. So clearly there's choices people are making, and you can tell that the internet is impacting everybody. So if you extrapolate that in terms of Moore's law, here's where we end up in 10 years. So in 2020, we should have about 5 billion internet subscribers. Connections of about 1 gigabits per second become the norm. That's about 500 times faster than what the speeds are today. in the US. In fact, South Korea will probably get that speed in the next few years. 10 billion mobile subscriptions, not subscribers, subscriptions. And it could be in all sorts of devices. It could be your Kindle, it could be your iPad, it could be your mobile phone. And most people will be transacting revenue transactions through the mobile phone. So hopefully we'll all be buying our tickets as well using our mobile phone. So the number of media is going to certainly prevail. It'll have the largest amount of data storage, and we estimate that's going to be about 1 zettabyte. A zettabyte is 10 to the power of 21 bytes. So what does all this mean? What does this mean in terms of impact and changes to your business, to the IT businesses? Clearly, the internet is the most disruptive technology in our time, perhaps all time. It's going to transform virtually every business and governance. It will replace the economics of scarcity with the economics of ubiquity. So if you build an industry built on controlling information, you're most likely going to be transformed. So as you think about the future and the internet, we really need a vision about how we're going to tackle the next 10 years of the internet. And here's our vision. And our vision starts with being consumer-centered. So the first part of our vision is that consumer innovation is going to lead the way. It used to be that technologies first started with enterprises and then made their way to consumers, right? You think about email, you think about intranet searches, you think about storage. I mean, it was all about enterprises first adopting these in a mass way, and then over time these would trickle to consumers. Now you're seeing that being flip-flopped. An example would be Google Video or video chat, where today enterprises are using this without adding any new hardware or software. Consumers really have infinite choices. There was a Forrester survey that said that now 30% of the IT department now support the iPhone. 70% still support the BlackBerry, but an iPhone, which really started as a consumer phone, is now making its way into the enterprise. And why is all this happening? It's happening because the consumer market is a lot more Darwinian than the enterprise market. So if you have to survive in the consumer space, you have to innovate at a pace that's much faster than enterprise cycles. So the implication for all of us here is that the consumer market is the place to go for IT innovations. You really have to innovate at the speed of the consumer. The only thing that I think consumer products will need to change is their names. So if you expect, the hottest company in the Web 2.0 space is Twitter, the leader in mobile operating systems and consumer operating systems for mobiles is Froyo. I'm not sure that sits very well with enterprises. So if you change those names, I think we're all in good stead moving forward. So I talked about consumers leading innovation. The second part of our vision is that the web is fast. It's going to be super fast. Things like power, connectivity, bandwidth, they continue to grow according to Moore's law. In India, we recently passed the right to education. In Finland, the government there has passed a right to access, i.e. every citizen has a right to 1 megabits per second broadband access. It's in fact the only country that has legislation for governing access. And people all across the world, whether it's in India or the US or any other country, expect speed on the internet. 4 out of 5 users will move away or click away if a video starts rebuffering. Amazon.com estimated that 100 millisecond delay reduces their sales by 1%. Even at Google, we run experiments in small segments of our users where we deliberately slowed down the speed of search results, and we found that the number of searches decreased by close to 1% for every sort of 200 milliseconds worth of delay. So speed matters. So as you think about developing your application, your website, this is something that you have to keep in mind. It's not okay for it to work. It has to work fast. In fact, Google, we are so obsessed by speed, and you probably heard about things like PageRank, but we also do site rank, and one of the signals that we use for our site rank is the speed of your site and the speed of your application. India today ranks about 97th in terms of internet speed. So you think about the world average being about 1.7 megabits per second, and you've got South Korea that leads the path with somewhere close to 14 megabits per second. India still has a long ways to go in terms of building out its infrastructure. So anyways, the net is bet on Murphy's Law, assume that power, connectivity, storage, and other things will continue to become abundant, and assume a very, very impatient customer. The third part of our vision is that the web is mobile. So in the next 2 years, over 1 billion new users are going to come over to the internet or come over to the mobile phone. And this is going to be a very proud achievement for many of us who've been enablers to the mobile industry. And these guys are all going to have the same needs that all of us do, which is connectivity, information access, diagnosing health problems, communications, networking, all of that. In fact, half of all new connections today internet connections today are on the mobile. In many countries, we've seen, in terms of Google traffic, countries like Indonesia, South Africa, Nigeria, and others, that we see more searches happening on mobile phones than we do on desktops. Smartphones are going to outgrow PC sales by 2012. So why mobile? Why is this sort of the high volume product? What made this thing take off? So the idea here is that when devices reach a certain scale, they become sort of the defining or the iconic product in that space. And that time has arrived for mobile. And pretty much like magic, you will start seeing things on your mobile phone and applications and usage of mobile phones that you would never have imagined. Things like location-based services. I mean, if you take the power of geolocation plus mobile apps, where you can look for restaurants, look for transit information, driving directions, all of those types of things, no matter where you are, at your fingertips. We noticed that when we launched this in India, our traffic, when we launched all of these search-based features on geolocation, our queries on maps tripled very quickly. So pretty much everything that you do will need to be done in a mobile environment very soon. And therefore the new mantra is mobile first. It used to be that even in Google, we pretty much develop applications for the desktop, and then it was someone's job to port it over to a mobile. But now if you start thinking about mobile, they have a sense of vision with a camera, they have a sense of location, they have a sense of touch. A lot of things that the desktop does not have. We are now doing innovations primarily for the mobile phone that may never make it